hour.
Okay. Hey guys, I start admitting everyone inside.
It's recorded already,
Already,
right? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Can
thanks, bro.
already, Hey everyone, thanks for taking time down for the workshop today. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes, so just hang tight. Junong Joe, you guys can get started already.
A very good evening. And just to reiterate what Somesh said, right? Thanks everyone for coming down. I know it's like Thursday, everyone's kind of feeling tired. But nevertheless, my name is Jinlong, and with me I have Joel, our head of publicity. And yeah, this will be the first workshop that we have for Blockchain NTU. So for everyone here, as this is the first kind of workshop with regards to blockchain, right? We are here to kind of demystify all the terms that you guys may have heard and kind of lower the barriers of entry so that you guys will have like a better time learning more about blockchain with our club. Yep. So without further ado, allow me to begin. Oh, sorry. Yep. So yeah, who are we? So this club is relatively young. We were incorporated all the way back in 2018, and it's a club dedicated to fostering a vibrant blockchain community within NTU and beyond. So our mission is actually very simple. We are just committed to building and strengthening the technical expertise and market awareness of our members while empowering like-minded individuals in pursuit of academic, enterprise, or even entrepreneurial behavior within the blockchain space. Yeah. So why should you, as a year one or NTU student, learn about blockchain, right? So yeah, as you can see, we kind of plotted out 2021. The developments of blockchain technology is exciting. It was valued at $4.6 billion, and yeah, it is expected to actually grow all the way to $52.5 billion within 2026. And the blockchain solutions, right, are being developed and applied in numerous multinational companies. So definitely, if you have a skill set here, companies who are actively looking to actually employ blockchain architects or blockchain engineers. Yep. And lastly, the application of blockchain I wouldn't say it will revolutionize how you live your life in the future. And so as you can see, I think the past year, everyone was kind of saw like this huge bull run for cryptos, right? So it will actually change your life through financial means as well. So let's go through today's agenda. So we have 6 points here. We will first introduce what is blockchain, what are smart contracts that empower these blockchains, as well as the type of blockchain networks. Then we'll go over the origins of Bitcoin, and then we have a small crash course, and then the implications of cryptocurrency, and then Joel will then take over with teaching you how to create your own MetaMask. Yeah, so I think everyone here is kind of curious, like what is blockchain, right? Like everyone has heard of this term, but when you peek under the hood, you might not know what it actually is. So don't worry, we're kind of here to kind of help demystify this terminology. Yeah. So a blockchain is essentially a distributed database, or if you are familiar with accounting, it's a distributed ledger that is shared amongst the nodes of a computer network. So as a database, blockchain stores information electronically in a digital format. They are best known for their crucial role in cryptocurrency systems, such as the aforementioned Bitcoin or even Ethereum and all those altcoins that you might have heard of, such as Dogecoin. Yeah, the innovation with a blockchain is that it guarantees the fidelity and security of a record of data and generates trust without the need for a trusted third party, such as like a bookkeeper or some middleman. Yep. So for those of you more comfortable with databases, you might ask yourself, okay, so what's the difference between a blockchain database and a typical database, right? Yeah, it's essentially in how it is structured. Blockchain collects information together in groups, which is known as blocks. These blocks hold sets of information, and the blocks have certain storage capacities. So when these storage capacities are filled from each block, they then kind of create a new block, which is linked to the previous block, which essentially forms a chain of blocks. Yeah, so this is essentially a very simplified transaction cycle for, let's say, Bitcoin, right? So let's say today you buy, let's say you buy a HDB. I mean, you can't do that now, but let's say maybe someday in the future you buy HDB through Bitcoin, right? So a new transaction is kind of entered into the blockchain network and is then transmitted to a network of peer-to-peer computers scattered across the globe. The network of computers then solves equations to form the validity of the transaction. And then once it is confirmed to be legitimate, they are clustered together into the blocks that I've mentioned before. And these blocks are then chained together, like I said, and then once it's chained together, the transaction is complete and it enters the blockchain. So now you know kind of what is a blockchain. Let's go into the underlying technology that supports the blockchain network, which are called the smart contracts. So don't let the name fool you. Smart contract is essentially a very simplified example of what a contract is supposed to be, right? So it's a self-executing contract with the terms of the agreement set between the buyer and seller, and is directly written into lines of code. The code is then contained therein and exists across the distributed ledger of the blockchain. Yeah, so the code controls the execution and the transactions are trackable and irreversible. Yep. So that's basically on a very top level what smart contracts are. Yep. Now moving on. So you might ask yourself, how do I write a smart contract? Well, throughout the semester or throughout the year, the team here at Blockchain NTU will definitely be hosting several workshops to actually educate you more. But if you are a self-starter and you're very curious, we've actually listed 4 smart language contracts, which are very popular within the blockchain ecosystem. The first being Solidity. So Solidity, for those of you that do not know, is the language that powers the Ethereum network. And then of course you have Golang, Rust, and last but not least, JavaScript. So Rust is the language that powers the Solana network, for those of you that didn't know. Yep. So let me just break down essentially what a smart contract is. So because some of you might not be so tech savvy, let's just say today, it's a very hot day. You run around SRC, right? Then you're thirsty, you're exhausted. The sun is like super hot in Singapore. So luckily you see like a vending machine like with your favorite drink, like the 100 plus. So of course you see the vending machine and then you kind of think, okay, if I give the machine $1.20 and I press this button, I'll get 100 plus water. Yeah. So it's almost guaranteed that you'll get the 100 plus water, unless maybe the machine's like jammed or something. Yeah. So essentially, this is the framework behind every smart contract out there. Yeah. So if the money is received, press button, 100 plus water is released, and then you release the 100 plus, and then you get a very nice drink on a very hot and sunny day. Yeah. So this is just a simple slide that we prepared to kind of compare the difference between smart contracts and the regular contracts. So of course, like I mentioned, smart contracts are faster, more efficient, and accurate. So once the condition has been met, the contract is executed immediately. There is literally no need for paperwork that will have to be filled in. Like example, if you go for a bank loan, the amount of time wasted just waiting in the counter and all this is kind of like thrown away the moment smart contracts are entered into the fray. And then of course you have trust and security. So blockchain transactions are cryptographically and secured. So therefore it makes them trustless as well. So you don't need to trust the person because there is no need for that. Once you fulfill your end of the conditions, their end of the conditions will be automatically like distributed to you. Yeah, so these are the different types of blockchain networks. So these are three general types. Yeah, so public blockchain. So these are the ones that everyone is more familiar with, right? It is like the public blockchain behind Ethereum, behind Bitcoin, and behind most of the coins out there in the market. So a public blockchain is one where anyone is kind of free to join as long as you can connect to the internet and you can kind of join in the whole blockchain network. So the advantages of a public blockchain is that it operates on an incentivizing scheme that encourages new participants to join and keep the network agile. So they usually offer a particularly valuable solution from the point of view of a truly decentralized, democratized, and authority-free operation. However, the disadvantages or the cons is that there are occasional bad actors within the blockchain system that might try to manipulate it by doing what they call 51% attacks. But we will not be covering that within today's today's class. But of course, in the future classes, we might cover them. And then, of course, moving on a complete opposite of a public blockchain are what we call the private blockchains. So these are usually very centralized blockchain networks where participants can only join through an invitation, where their identity and other like necessary information is authentic and will be verified. So the one advantage of a centralized network is because of the fact that it is not decentralized, it will actually require less time to actually run through the entire transaction process. And yeah. And then this is actually relatively interesting. We have what they call a hybrid distributed ledger or consortium blockchain. So with this type of blockchain, companies are able to reap the benefits of increased security and privacy by the cost of like bad actors within the company itself. Yep. So this is just a very quick snapshot. Yeah, I included the private from Madagascar. You guys can see because yeah, private blockchains and stuff. Yeah, so on to the more juicy part, which is the origins of Bitcoin. So yeah, Bitcoin was actually originally founded in 2009 following the financial recession of 2008. It was birthed because a group of people who I'll go through later saw Bitcoin's ideologies and then they laid it out as a white paper describing how revolutionary cryptocurrencies would work. Yep, and of course, as I just mentioned, Bitcoin was founded by a guy or a group or a girl or whatever named Satoshi Nakamoto. So yeah, he was this entity was the first person that wrote the white paper for Bitcoin. Yeah, and until today, nobody actually know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. This person has chosen to be anonymous, and even Elon Musk was actually like kind of accused, but to be Satoshi Nakamoto, but he denied that allegation. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have ever like overpaid for something in your life. This guy certainly did. This guy, Laszlo Hanyecz, he famously paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 delivered Papa John's pizza. So I mean, that's like 10,000 times 26,000 USD. So it's about somewhere around $26 million for just 2 pizzas. So I bet he's kicking himself in the leg right now. Yeah, so this is the fine lad that bought 2 pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoin. Yeah. So yeah, like I mentioned, there are a lot of things you can do with Bitcoin nowadays. So famously, Tesla has actually opened up the option to actually buy their cars through Bitcoin, and the company itself also owns 43,200 Bitcoins during 2021. Yep. And through third-party apps, you can also buy Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, the third-party apps I mentioned are like big cars, where it's like you can just use them as a platform to kind of change your Bitcoins into cash and then use it to buy like cars and stuff. Famously, I think some people have also bought real estate property up to like tens of millions of dollars through Bitcoin as well. Yeah, so this is actually the state of what Bitcoin is at. So in 2021, El Salvador actually became the world's first country to officially make Bitcoin a legal tender. So this is actually very interesting because the whole country itself, you can use Bitcoin to pay for everything, essentially making it as good as cash. Yeah, so a more recent example of further adoption, right, is that in April 28th of this year, 2022, the Central African Republic has also adopted Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency as an official currency alongside the Central African franc. Yeah, so this example shows hope and progress that despite crypto still being in the infant stage, and I mean the recent bear market, there is hope in the long run that more countries and even more organizations might actually uptake cryptocurrency as a formal currency. Yep. So as you can see, the adoption rate of crypto is actually getting higher. So as I mentioned, Tesla itself. And then we have MicroStrategy. So they are enterprise business intelligence application software vendor. And throughout the years, they have actually accepted Bitcoin as payment and have accumulated quite a lot of Bitcoin, as you can see. So if you multiply that by 26,000 USD, that's actually a huge fund. And yeah, PayPal actually since 2020 has allowed US customers to use cryptocurrencies as a form of payment. Yeah, so now we'll be bringing you guys through a rough, high-level Bitcoin crash course. So, like I mentioned, Bitcoin is essentially just a distributed ledger, right? So, each block itself will contain certain data, such as the metadata, which I'll go through later on, and as well as the transaction. So, yep, so let's get into more details as to what these data are. The Bitcoin blockchain stores the data such as sender, receiver, and the amount of coins being transferred, of course. The hashes are calculated using what they call the SHA-256 algorithm, which I will kind of run through with you guys later on how it works. Yeah, so a very interesting thing is if the hash of that block is tampered with, it will cause the block to be altered. Sorry, the hash to be altered within the block. And lastly, like I mentioned, it will store the hash of the block before it. So you can kind of see like a long list of blocks, which is a blockchain. Yeah. So once you tamper with a block, all future blocks that arise from like that block will be kind of denied by the larger consensus within the blockchain itself. But Bitcoin infamously uses this proof of work mechanism. The proof of work mechanism aims to slow down the creation of new blocks, which makes it harder to tamper with the Bitcoin network if you do tamper with it, because this means that you have to recalculate all the proof of work for all the following blocks. Yeah, so this is essentially a very basic life cycle of a Bitcoin transaction. So let's say today, Alice over here on the top left wishes to send 12.5 Bitcoin to Bob, right? So what she does is she broadcasts this transaction throughout the whole Bitcoin network, and some miners will receive it and verify whether the transaction is valid. If the transaction is valid, they will then include this transaction within the other transactions inside a aforementioned block. Then afterwards, they have to kind of do some mining work and before publishing out, and then eventually they'll confirm whether the block is sent, and Alice can actually go to the Bitcoin network and check on the block to see whether her transaction has been published out there. So you might ask yourself, is it a lot of work to kind of do this consensus model called proof of work? Well, to answer this question, let's look at what goes behind the proof of work model used by Bitcoin. Yeah. So right here, as I mentioned, the SHA-256 algorithm, right? So let's say we do a simple, like everybody uses this password once, like password 123. So this algorithm will actually create a string of numbers and text from whatever the user has inputted, right? So back to the presentation. So let's see. Yeah, so this is essentially what you call the lucrative mining puzzle. So if you want to kind of get the price, which is the Bitcoin from mining, you actually have to do a lot of trial and error, and you need a lot of computing power to actually kind of get the required hash. Yeah, so that was basically a very high level crash course of Bitcoin. So throughout the semester, we actually go more in depth into several consensus model and more. So this is kind of the implications of cryptocurrency for 3 groups of people. So yeah, so for the bank, banks usually exploit people like you and me by having us to pay a lot of transaction fees and make us jump through a lot of hoops just to get loans, just to get basic access to financial services. So unlike banks, cryptocurrencies actually do not have such a middleman to manage all these because they run on smart contracts, as I've mentioned before. So by taking away all the middlemen, remove transaction cost, remove waiting time, remove whatever hidden fees that you might have to pay when you go to a bank for financial services. So through cryptocurrencies, you are able to conduct your monetary transactions at a fast and secure pace, which essentially removes the need for traditional financial services. So now we'll be moving on to implications for the unbanked. So for those of you that do not know, there's around 2 billion people within the globe that actually do not have current access to modern or even basic financial services. Yeah, so cryptocurrencies can actually change their lives for the better. So yeah, as I said, large amounts of unbanked people are just living in third world countries because they do not have access to financial services because their income is not secure, or the geopolitical issues within that region prevent them from even having savings and stuff, right? So yeah, as I mentioned, due to the geopolitical issues, governments might want to intervene and kind of tax them, have like insane taxes for them and stuff. So through cryptocurrencies, because it is decentralized, these unbanked people essentially have chance to actually reach out and access modern financial services that they did not have previously. Yeah, and then of course the implications for you, right? For you as a new student just enrolling into NTU, or a new student coming to blockchain at NTU for the first time. Yeah, so blockchain technologies, as you can see, are truly revolutionary. They kind of really, through the smart contracts, through the prevention of tampering, they kind of prevent bad actors from kind of going in and disrupting the way you interact with financial services. So yeah, throughout your stay here at Blockchain NTU, we aim to kind of educate you with the skill sets required to kind of talk about blockchain, interact with people in the industry and stuff. Yeah, the world is literally at your fingertips. I hope you guys have a very great time with us. And now I'll be passing the time on to Joel. We'll kind of talk more about this.
Sure. Hi guys, my name is Joel and I'm the Director of Publicity. So I'll be taking over Jin Hong. I'll be going through what's Ethereum. After that, we will share screen. Yep, I'll be sharing what's Ethereum. After that, I'm going through gas fee, after that DeFi, and lastly, at the end of the session, hopefully all of you will be able to create your own Metamask wallet. Yep, so what's Ethereum? Ethereum is actually the biggest altcoin there is. So it's a second biggest token out there also, right below Bitcoin. So Ethereum is a decentralized blockchain platform that established peer-to-peer network, and it runs on a smart contract. So it's like Bitcoin, but it's programmable. So it's like programmable money. So for each transaction, users has to sign a transaction and to process each transaction on the network. So every time a user signs a transaction and it goes through the Ethereum network, it requires gas fee to process each transaction. So what is gas fee, you may ask? So gas fee is actually like a way to pay Ethereum miner, compensate them for the computational power that they use up to secure the Ethereum network. So another benefit of gas fee, right, is because gas is not cheap, so it somewhat protects the Ethereum network itself. So it protects it from malicious attack, so that people cannot run like lots of transactions each time and just whack the whole network. So I'll show you this simple simulator to show you how the gas fee works and how gas fee fluctuates with time. Because the price of gas fee is based on supply and demand. So the more users who wants to use the network, the higher and the more beat up the gas will be. And each gas is measured in a term called Gui. Yeah, so this is a very beginner-friendly way to see how a gas fee works. This is actually quite interesting. It's a live view of the actual gas fee right now. So you can see the people queuing are the ones that are not willing to pay what the current gas is, which is like 6 Gui. So those who are willing to pay, they will skip the line and they will go into the each block. You can see. So once each block is filled, right, then the transaction will be processed and moved on. Then the right side is the Bitcoin one. It's not as important. Then at the left side, you can see all these different dApps. And so all these are coming from users from all these different platforms. So this is Metamask, this is Shiba, I think. This here, this is 1 inch, if I'm not wrong, this is Uniswap. Yeah, then it's OpenSea, Tether. Yeah, so simple example like this. And then the way to check gas is, oh my God, go block it. Yeah, you can go to either spend.io and you can check what's the current gas price now. But sadly, the school Wi-Fi doesn't allow us to check most of the most of the crypto and DeFi stuff. Get back to this. Okay, now I'll go in a bit DeFi and to explain to you what's DeFi and its application. So DeFi is actually a big part of crypto scene and the whole decentralized finance. So actually DeFi means decentralized finance, and it's an alternative to TradFi services. So it provides services on the Web3 scene, such as trading, borrowing, and lending. So everything here, there's no middleman, is built solely on cryptography, blockchain, and smart contracts. On top of DeFi, there's this thing called DeFi-U. This is where it promotes people to add liquidity to the pool and attract more people to make use of the network and also provide more deeper liquidity to each of the different pools. So DeFi-U and the DeFi-U farming is a way for users to lend and borrow cryptocurrency and also earn in return for their services, which is to provide liquidity to each of the different pools. So these are the main 4 ways that DeFi-U come from. So lending protocol, so you lend, trading fees for each transaction you make, and LP and leverage trading. So this is a very clear picture of the difference between traditional finance and decentralized finance. So actually, right, DeFi is interestingly, it's pretty much the same for the users and receiver itself, but the plus point is that it removes the middleman. So remove the bank, remove the PayPal, Visa, and also the bank of receiver. So in this way, it removes a lot of hidden fees, such as the bank has to pay for the rental, has to pay for their staff. So this way, the users itself will be able to pay lesser, and the receiver itself will have a lesser cut of each transaction. So these are the few reads of DeFi, but it might look a bit complicated. But the more prominent risk are usually scams and intrinsic protocol risk, which is like the code having some issues itself. The rest is not as important. But today I'll be going through more into scams and rugs because that's what most everyday people like us will be affected by. So I will go through 2 of the most biggest scam/rugs in the DeFi scene, and I'll explain to you how to identify whether it's a rug or scam beforehand as well. So the first example, I think most of you have heard this, because probably your friends will put you into this game, is the Neko Indu game. So the way they package it is to package it as a play to earn, to tell you that you play this game, you're able to earn X amount of income, and you keep repeating what you do every day, you're able to maybe make a living off the game. So one way to identify for Neko Indu is actually quite simple. And you look at the way the game is played. You actually go back to the 4 base principle of DeFi-U and ask yourself, where does the yield come from? Does it come from trading? Does it come from LP or leverage trading or lending protocol? So for the first time when I saw Neko Indu, the first thing I thought in my mind, there's no trading, there's no lending, there's no LP or anything. So I asked myself, where does the yield come from? So for Neko Indu itself, it's more like a Ponzi. So the more money people put inside, and the more they will pay you to bring on more people. So if you cannot figure out where does the yield come from, it's like more likely than not, it's a Ponzi itself. So one day you might get rugged or collapse. So that's one way to identify whether a play to earn is a Ponzi or not. So ask yourself, where does the yield come from? Does it come from any of the 4 different yields that generate yields for DeFi? The second example would be Lunar UST. I think many of you have heard of this, or many of you might have burned by this, because this is one of the biggest downfall in the DeFi scene for us, ever since DeFi has been built up. So to understand how Luna collapsed, I've created a small notepad to explain more about like Luna and UST and the collapse of UST. So I think you guys have heard of UST. So they package it as a algo-backed fiat savings account, where it generates you around a 19.5 to 20% interest. So the most dangerous thing about such DeFi is that they target users' savings. So they encourage people to put their whole life savings into this kind of safe asset, which turns out it's not as safe as you thought it would be, because it's algo-backed, it's not fiat-backed. So for every UST minted, each Luna will be burned. So that therefore, the more people have the increase in demand on UST will reduce the supply of Luna, leading an upwards price of Luna. But the reverse is same as well. When more people dump UST, more Luna is minted, and the price of Luna fall. So this algo-backed system actually caused the rise and also the fall of Luna. So because of this, when the UST lost its peg due to an attack, it collapsed to 60 cents, and this caused a panic. So everyone will be cashing out their UST, and therefore more Luna is minted, causing Luna price to dump. And the more Luna price falls, the more sell pressure there's for UST, creating like a death spiral and leading to the entire Luna and UST ecosystem to fail. So this is a very, very brief explanation of the fall of Luna and UST. Yeah, if you're interested, I watch this YouTube link by Cold Fusion. It's a 20 minutes video to explain the entire process from the beginning days and all the way to the end of the saga of Do Kwon and Luna. Okay, so now I'll go through all the basic principles of DeFi and also Ethereum, and now we'll be setting our own Metamask account. Yeah, so you guys can actually scan the QR code, download Metamask, or you can go to this link to download your desktop as well. So I'll give you guys some time. So after you download Metamask, this is how it should look like. I'll briefly run through because I'm not too sure how many of you are actually creating it. So I'll briefly run through, and I'll drop a link in the description later on a full YouTube video on how you're actually gonna step by step create it. Yeah, so once you created a wallet, you look something like this. If you have a wallet already, click the one on this one. Let's get set up. And then they ask you to agree, and then you create a password, and then you click create. So the next phase will be the most important one, which is the seed phrase. Okay, I give you guys some time just in case some of you are creating it. Okay, so the next one is the recovery seed phrase. You should never share with anyone this seed phrase, not even me or anyone in this group who asks you right after this, like what's your seed phrase and how you keep track. You should never share this seed phrase. And one way to keep track of your seed phrase is to write it on somewhere that is not connected to the internet, so a paper or yeah, most likely it's a paper. You write it down. What I do is I write on two different paper. One paper I put in a safe, and one paper I put it maybe somewhere safer. So just in case one of the seed phrase is missing, I can actually have one backup. And this seed phrase is really, really important because you actually lose this seed phrase. There's no one or there's no way for you to retrieve whatever token or whatever amount of money you have in your wallet. So this seed phrase is guarded with very closely to yourself. Yep, so they will show you a seed phrase and you have to write it down or memorize it. So it looks something like that. You have a random words and you have 12 words and you have to remember them. Okay, give a bit of time. Okay, so once you complete all these steps, you have successfully created a brand new Metamask wallet. So your address will be the one right below account. And okay, you can't really see the full thing, but you just click on it, you'll copy the entire address already. So just click on it and you can paste it somewhere else, wherever you need it to be. Yep. And some basic hygiene for MetaMask is that whenever there's a link sent to you or anything, just do not click. Or especially when you click on the link and they have to sign a transaction. Like do not sign if you don't know, if you're not making any transaction and they ask you to sign, don't sign anything, just cancel. That's one way to protect yourself. And don't click on links that you see anywhere just like that, especially with the browser with your MetaMask inside. One interesting hack that happened to a close friend of mine is really interesting. He was talking to a foreign friend of his, and I think his Telegram was compromised, and they sent a link to him of the topic they were talking about. And he clicked on it, and it drained his entire wallet of like 4 to 8 ETH, I think, in like 30 minutes. So just be very careful of the links you click, especially when you have a computer with your Metamask stored inside. Okay, I think most should be done. I'll drop a link of my YouTube video just in case some of you guys are still. Okay, I sent the link already. So any of you is still trying to figure out and use the YouTube video, anything you can text the group or text me or Jinlong as well. Okay, now I'm having my time to our president, Somesh, and he will take on from there.
Yeah. Joel, you can just continue sharing screen.
Okay, yeah, sure. No worries. All right.
Yeah, okay. So that marks the end of our workshop. But before we end off, I'd just like to take this time to thank everyone for coming down once again. And like to thank Junlong and Joel for taking the time off to prepare this entire presentation for you guys. So this is just one of the first workshops that we have along a long line of workshops that will involve external speakers and whatnot. So just do look forward to more of that coming up in the future. For now, what we'd like to do is, as some of you may know, we have subcommittee applications out currently, which close on Monday. So I'd like to actually invite the subcommittee heads to just share a little bit more on the subcommittees and why you should be applying for them. So Joel, can you press the next slide, please? Yeah, so just as a recap, these are the 4 main subcommittees that we have right now: development, research, education, and publicity. And these are basically what each of the subcommittees will be working towards the rest of the AY. So for development, can we have subcommittee head to just come and explain what the subcommittee will be working towards? I think I've given everyone goals, right? So you guys can share your screen if you want to. Phil, are you muted or? Okay, I think Phil is having some technical difficulties. If not, we can move on to the next subcom head. Joy, you can just continue sharing your screen.
Yeah, then I'll go ahead. Yeah. So do join the research subgroup, because what mainly we will do is we'll look through all the different project tokenomics and the white papers, and then we'll dive deep into them and point out all the, we will find out what is the underlying technology under these tokens. So that is mainly what we'll be doing lah. So please do join us. We'll learn a lot of different things. Yeah, thank you.
Next, education.
All right. Yeah. So I think most of you already know me, but for those of you that kind of joined late or missed out, yeah, my name is Long. So for education, it's very I'd say very focused on developing the club as well. So of course, planning future workshops for the club is definitely something that we'll do. And I'm trying to make sure that we have like the education base, maybe on like Medium, knowledge base, or maybe on Medium itself, where we can kind of keep track of all the research that the club has done. And then of course, the students within the education subcommittee, the primary role is to, besides finding workshops for the club and preparing for the workshops, is to kind of maintain this knowledge database. Yeah, and then generally to work with the research, publicity, and development subcommittees to kind of like further the blockchain research or knowledge about blockchain within the club itself. For education-wise, for the education subcommittee, I will try not to touch your finals month, and if possible, try not to touch the month before your finals month as well. So definitely, you can expect to have a good balance between your university education as well as pursuing your education within the blockchain ecosystem as well. Yep, that's about it for me.
And lastly, Pubs, Joel. I think I'm muted.
Hey, hi, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yep, so I'm the director of publicity, and for our side, we'll be assisting mainly on the other subcoms. So if there are any activities or anything that require any publicity material, we will be helping them create content. And on top of that, we'll be handling the social media content for BNS and hopefully promote BNS to a greater crowd, and so create a greater adoption for blockchain inside NTU itself as well. And I think something a bit special about the publicity is I have a deep experience in launching NFT project from the first phase all the way to minting out. I've launched probably multiple projects already. So if you're interested to learn more about handling NFT project, the marketing, or building an NFT project itself, I think you can join publicity and also maybe learn a bit from me, and I can teach you the basics here and there as well. Yeah, other than that, that's all for me. Yeah.
Great. I think Phil is here now. Phil, are you able to share your screen if you wanted to? You can share more about the development subcom.
Hello, can you see me?
Yeah, you can see your screen. Take it away.
Okay, so for development committees, we will develop an intra-club NFT marketplace. So this marketplace will be for club member to play and learn. So you can launch your own collections or freely design your own NFT. So it should be a fun and easy experience for everyone. So there will be no entry cost. Yeah. So the builder will gain more experience on how an NFT works, and the participants can participate in the marketplace. So for this project, member join the project can pick up web development skills, and the fixed stack I already list in the application forms. Along the way, we will also learn some smart contract development skill, so we can get start to become a blockchain developers. So there will be a bonus. Actually, there's another projects on Agorans we are going to launch. So we will build a DeFi platform from scratch for everyone to get a glimpse of how DeFi works. So the project will start as long as the subcommittee is ready, and based on your interest, you can either choose NFT or DeFi. So the selection process will be a short interview after the application forms, and I will be the one who conduct the interview. Yeah. So you can reach out to me at this email and the Telegram channel. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for that, Bill, and everyone else who shared about the subcommittees. Joel, could you just share your screen again? Yeah, so just to reiterate again, subcom applications are open. I'll be sending the link once again into the group so you guys can take a look and just ponder over it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of the Expo members. Don't be shy, we won't bite. It's really an opportunity for you guys to learn. And it's just what we want you guys to explore as much as you can. So this is really a great opportunity for you guys to work with the club, to work with external organizations, to explore the blockchain space, to see what there is, and to know what you want to learn in the space as well. So just go ahead and apply, and yeah, just don't be afraid. So next we'll be actually having our next workshop in a couple of weeks' time. It'll be on the 8th of September, and it'll be on intro to blockchain development. So for you guys who are interested in development in the blockchain space, and I'm not too sure where to start, this workshop will be perfect for you guys. So feel free to invite your friends as well to join the club or and join the workshop even, so that they can get a basic gist of like what the blockchain space is about, how development looks like. So yeah, and lastly, before we end off, just to clarify, don't worry, the recordings will be shared with everyone. The recording for this meeting will be shared with all of you guys, so not to worry about that. And lastly, we'll actually have a photo taking session similar to last week. So could I just get everyone to kindly turn on their camera so you can do a quick snapshot of you guys. Joel, you can just stop sharing your screen and we can take a snapshot. Yeah. Thanks everyone, I appreciate it.